Well, good morning. Today we do Psalm 136. It's an interesting psalm because it's kind of based on the outline of Psalm 135, but it's very liturgical. It has a line that repeats. I'll read a few verses and you'll hear it. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who alone does great wonders, for his steadfast love endures forever. And it goes on like that for 25 verses or so, and every verse has the second line, his steadfast love endures forever. So if you are ever called on to do a devotion in a meeting or a Sunday school class or something, and you have no idea what to do and you're scared, have everybody open their Bibles to Psalm 136 and read that second half of every verse aloud after you read the first half, sort of as a liturgy. It works, and you go through all kinds of things. Excuse me. To him alone who does great wonders, made the heavens, spread out the earth, made the great lights. And then it moved from creation to history, who struck down the firstborn of Egypt with a strong hand and outstretched arm, divided the Red Sea in two, made Israel pass through it, overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, led his people through the wilderness, struck down great kings, and then we name them for 2 or 3 verses. It's he who remembered us in our low estate, rescued us from our foes, gives food to all flesh. Give thanks to the God of heaven, for his steadfast love endures forever. God's love does endure forever, despite what we might do or think. God keeps loving us and keeps loving the world and the creation and humanity, because that is God's nature, is to be love. It's not a fault. It's not something that God needs to, grow out of and get more more serious about judgment. It's not something that God needs to rethink. His love is there because that's the fundamental nature of who he is. He loves us. He cares for us. He takes care of us. He takes care of us against all of our enemies. He provides for our needs and gives us food, and he's always there for us. Now, you can't say that about every other sort of God that we might worship. And sometimes it doesn't seem like God is there for us. Sometimes we are struggling. People struggle emotionally, spiritually. People struggle financially. Some people struggle with illness or with just situations that won't go away. And you say, "Where's God in all that? Why isn't God helping me? Why isn't?" Well, God is there, and God is always wanting, willing, ready to help. Sometimes we're not ready to take the help that God offers. I'm sure the Israelites never really expected God to part the water and have them walk through it and then live in the wilderness. But that's the path that God chose. And I'm sure that sometimes the path that God is trying to point us toward doesn't look like a path, and we're not too interested because we've already decided what God should do and how God should be. We decide that, and we want God to take our advice and do things our way, and God's always up there going, no, we're not going to do that. That's not how it's going to be. So then you've got to figure out, well, okay, God, what are we going to do now? And sometimes you can figure that out easily, and sometimes it's really hard. But however it is, remember, God loves you. His steadfast love endures forever, and he's always there. So you can call on him, and don't be afraid to say, hey, I need help here. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.